Hey guys, Zero here. This is just going to be a really quick random video. It's actually almost midnight, but I just felt like doing this because I don't know, I wasn't ready to go to sleep yet. Um, so this is just kind of some like weird nostalgic thing I've been doing recently. Um, Ever since the Switch came out, I kind of moved on to uh, focusing on that and just collecting Switch games. So if you look at my shelf over there, all those red cases are Switch games. Um, I don't know exactly how many I have. I think it's like 70 or 80 physical games. And then the rest are digital. But I do have a pretty big Switch collection. Um, there's my Switch OLED over there. So yeah, for quite a while I've just been collecting Switch games, and it really blows my mind to think that the Switch has actually been out for we're starting the 5th year now, because it came out in early 2017 and we're in early 2020 now. But I recently started to miss the 3DS days, and I used to have a huge 3DS collection, pretty much almost as big as the size of my Switch collection. And I also had multiple 3DS systems. I had, obviously in the beginning, I had an original 3DS, and then I had an XL, and I had a new 3DS, like the smaller one with the faceplates, and I had a whole bunch of different custom faceplates for it that I imported from Japan. Now they go for like $80 a piece when they were supposed to be like $10 a piece. Um, and then I had a lot of the new 3DS XL special editions. I had the Fire Emblem one. I had the Super Nintendo one. I had the Yoshi one. Um, and I have unboxing videos for all of those, but I no longer have any of those systems. In fact, I got rid of my last 3DS. I think the last one I had was a new 2DS XL. It was the Pokeball edition. So it was like red and white, and it had the little button that you could press on it. It would look like a Pokeball. I got rid of that when I got my Switch because I was just like, I'm going to go all in on the Switch now. Um, but like I said, I've been feeling nostalgic and missing my 3DS and just some of the games that I really enjoyed or never got to finish. Um, so, fun fact, this was actually one of the first games, may have even been the first game I got for the 3DS when it came out. So, at the time, I was working at GameStop, and I actually did a video on this back in 2011 because the 3DS came out in, I think it was March 2011. A whole bunch of games, like all the launch games, which was mostly Ubisoft games and a couple of first party Nintendo things, um, they all came out and like were available to buy in the store like a week before the 3DS even launched. I don't know why. It makes no sense because obviously you couldn't play them, but I remember getting them in the store and making a video about how we had a bunch of 3DS games and they were not street dated. You could buy them, but you just couldn't play them. And then I got my first 3DS, which I couldn't decide between the Cosmo Black and the Aqua Blue, so I don't remember which one I ended up getting. Might have even gotten both, because I do have, if you check my channel all the way back to 2011, I do have videos of both. So I might have actually bought both. And at the time, keep in mind they were $250 a piece. They did not drop into the like 180 or 189, whatever it was, until a couple months in, and then that's when the whole ambassador program thing started. But this was originally supposed to be just a regular DS Lite, DSi game that they added a 3D effect to and then put on the 3DS. That's why the graphics on this game were not that great. The reason I picked this up, even though I don't like shooter games, which normally Ghost Recon is like, if it were on Xbox or PlayStation, it would be like a first person shooter. Um, this was actually a turn based tactical grid type strategy RPG, kind of like Fire Emblem or um, Advance Wars or Tactics Ogre or anything like that, and Disgaea. And I really like those kinds of games, so I actually picked this up on launch along with whatever else was available. I think I got like Rayman 3D and maybe Street Fighter, and then obviously I think wasn't there a Mario launch game? I don't even remember. It's been so long. Yeah, the launch lineup was pretty bad, so I grabbed whatever I could. But so anyway, so I had no 3DS to play any games on, so I was sad. I looked online, and because of the whole COVID thing, and people obviously, like, systems, the longer you have them, they get lost, they get broken, they get damaged, beat up, and they're not producing them anymore. GameStop doesn't even really sell them anymore. They've moved on to pretty much just Switch and PS4, PS5, Xbox. Um, so like all the 3DSs I was finding on eBay were like 200, 250, 300, 400, $450. Um, not even for like good ones. Not for ones that had boxes or like no damage to them. Like we're talking missing styluses and scratched up screens and just like beat up condition, but they're just so hard to find that they're just going for a lot on eBay. So luckily, I posted about it on Facebook, kind of, saying I really wanted a 3DS. And a friend of mine from work was like, "Hey, do you still want a 3DS?" And I was like, "Yes." So for $60, she sold me this original model. So talk about like nostalgia, talk about, going back to 2011 and really doing this old school. This is a pearl pink, which wasn't obviously available at launch, but this is the original style 3DS model. It's in perfect condition, no scratches on it, which is insane because whatever material they made this out of, most of the ones that you find on eBay will be like scratched to all hell, especially on the bottom. There are no scratches on this at all. It is insane. She must have never used it. Um, the screens are mint. The inside is mint. All I had to do was wipe some fingerprints off the top screen because this black glossy uh, texture here always gets all smudgy, which is why I kind of like the XL better. But at least I was like, I have something to play 3DS games on now. So I got my 3DS. I got this in the mail from eBay the other day, and then tomorrow I will also be getting Bravely Default, which I had to pay like $45 for, which is like more than it originally retailed for. But I love that game so much. So I'm going to be playing that again. I'll be playing this again. I never got very far in this because this game was huge. Like there's like I think 100 missions, and each mission is long. Like some of the missions are like 45 minutes long for one mission. And if you screw up towards the end, you have to do the entire mission all over. There's no checkpoints. So I only got like 10 missions into this game. But I'm excited to play this again. I'm excited to play what did I say? Bravely Default. I have a whole list like on my phone. I made a document file of like all the different games that I want to either repurchase or purchase that I never got before. Like I never had Ever Oasis because it came out kind of like at the end of the 3DS lifespan, and I just never picked it up. But this is actually sealed still. I didn't even remember buying it sealed. I thought I bought a used one, but it came in the mail and it was still sealed. So I was like, oh. I hear something rattling around. I'm guessing that's not the cartridge. It's probably like some sort of instruction manual that comes with it, which is weird because games nowadays don't come with instruction manuals. Or it could just be like, some sort of documentation. But I do like the 3DS cases. The Switch cases grew on me. At first I didn't like, they were like an odd size because they didn't really look good next to like my PlayStation games, like my PS4 games and stuff. But Now I like them because they kind of stand out. I like that they're all red on the spine and that they're like so tiny. But I really liked the 3DS cases too. They were kind of like the DS cases, but thinner. And I liked how they all had like the little icon for the game on the spine. And I liked how the logo was over on like the right hand side instead of usually like most games have logos on the top like PlayStation and Xbox, but these are square cases instead of rectangle, so it kind of makes sense. The new 3DS games, like the 2 or 3 of them that came out, they moved the logo to the top, but that was just to differentiate them. But yeah, I do like the cases, how they're white and how they have like the holes cut in them. And yeah, that actually has an instruction manual. That is crazy. And it's, well, the whole thing's not in color, but the front is. But yeah, I really, this brings back so many memories. I love the little cartridges for the 3DS. And I mean, there's upsides and downsides to the save files being saved on the cartridge and not the system itself. Like with the Switch, your save file saved to the Switch, which can be nice because if you sell a game and then change your mind and decide you want it back again, you can just rebuy it, like another copy, a different copy, and like your save file will still be intact. With the 3DS games, it's like if you sell it, you're selling your save file along with the cartridge, so you'd have to start over if you bought it again. That part does suck. So like, yeah, I'm gonna have to start this game over. I'm gonna have to start Bravely Default over. But the nice thing about it being saved to the cartridge is that if you keep your cartridges and change systems like I did a lot, you didn't have to worry about like transferring like save data or anything like that because it would just be right on your cartridge. So like if I still had my 3DS collection and they were over on my shelf, like all of my save files would have been still on the cartridges. But yeah, like I'm not gonna play right now, but I'm just gonna pop this in real quick and see if I can, or remember what it's like to boot up a 3DS game. So you get your little preview of the game up there, and I know that if you take out the stylus and put it back in really quickly, which I don't know if I can do with one hand, yeah, it makes the logo spin faster. So I don't know if that's something that most people know, but something I noticed. Nintendo 3DS. I got my little 3D slider. Booting up the game. There's some dust on the screen. I don't want to get fingerprints on it though, so I'll wipe it off with a cloth later. Ubisoft. Ubisoft really supported the system when it first came out. 2011. Ghost Recon. And like I said, I'm going to have to start a new file. But I'm super excited. Nostalgia is through the roof. I can't wait to start collecting 3DS games again, even though, unfortunately, they are all very expensive at this point. I looked up a couple of games on the list that I made, and some of them are a little bit cheaper. Like, this game I was able to get for, like, $15, I think. But that's because it's, like, an Ubisoft game that's old and nobody really cared about, and it scored, like, a 7 out of 10 from most reviewers. I just happen to really like this game. But more popular stuff like Bravely Default, yeah, that stuff used is going for like $45 to $50. So building my collection back up is going to be expensive. But yeah, I will try to eventually end up with a new 3DS XL also, just because they're a little bit more sturdy. They don't have like all this glossy texture to them. They don't feel as fragile. They have better stylus placement, larger screens, and like I said, they just feel more sturdy. The hinge on these feels like a little loose, a little floppy. whereas the XLs have like 3 different click positions that they kind of like stop at, and I don't know, they're just better. And I think they get better battery life also. I think this only has like 4 hours of battery life, and you get like 7 or 8 on the XL. So I'm gonna try to get one of those too, but they seem to be going, especially for the special editions, um, for like I said, $400 or more. So I'll have to wait and see if I can get a deal. But this just goes on the charging dock. Good old charging dock. And that was just my little trip down memory lane. Like I said, the 3DS came out in 2011, so did this game, and we're in 2022, so that was basically 11 years ago. It's been a long time. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but it really was a long time ago. God, how old was I? I'm 38 now, so I was 27. So yeah, I was in my mid to late 20s. So I was already like out of college and everything, but I don't know, whenever a new video game system comes out, I'm always like super hyped, and that's how it was when the 3DS came out. So all right, well, this video turned out a lot longer than I expected, but I guess I just had a lot to say about the 3DS and my nostalgia for it. So if I end up getting some more games or more 3DSs or whatever, I will make some videos on that. But until next time, I will talk to y'all later.